Good morning and welcome to the monthly council meeting of the Municipal Council of the Municipality of the County of Annapolis. Roll call beginning with District 1, please.
Bruce Proulx.
District 2, Brian Fuzzicato.
District 3, Dustin Enslow.
District 4, Clark Harden.
District 5, Lynn Longmire.
District 6, Alec Morrison.
District 7, David Hudson. District 8, Michael Gunn.
District 9, Wendy Sheridan.
District 10, Brad Riddle.
District 11, Diane Levin.
Thank you. Are there any disclosures of interest? In the order of the day, down before item 10, if you would put in camera MGA 22-2E contract negotiations. Are there other comments about the order of the day? I'd like a motion to approve the order of the day as amended. Councillor Gunn, seconded by Councillor LeBlanc. Discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Thank you. Adopted. We'll now move to page 21 and approval of our last set of minutes. Comments? Questions? Thank you. We'll now go to page 33, and unless you have objections when your turn comes, we'll begin with District 1 and 6.1 on page 33, please.
I move that Municipal Council approve Policy 114, Council Remuneration, in accordance with 7-day notice given on April 9th.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Gunn. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
And I'd like to remind folks who are watching or who hear about council meetings, we have discussed sometime to great length all of these subjects in Committee of the Whole. Committee of the Whole has seen fit to refer them to council for approval. Councillor Connell, please.
6.2, I move that this council send a letter to the Nova Scotia Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing requesting that the financial reporting and accounting manual be amended to reduce the length of time tax sale surplus funds are required to be held before transferred to this capital reserve fund from 20 years to 8 years or 1 year post tax sale, whichever is greatest, pursuant to the recommendation of the Committee of the Whole.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor LeBlanc. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. District 3.
I move that Municipal Council approve Policy 116, Committees of Council and Council Meetings Procedures as amended new in accordance with 7-day notice given on April 9th, 2024.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Longmire. Discussion. All in favor? Oh, sorry. Did you have discussion?
Yes, on the committee, if you look at this was brought to my attention by Bruce, or Councillor Proulx, on page 38, we need to change a time.
38 where?
38, where it says agenda for the municipality. That time did not get, it was at 9 a.m. It did not get changed to 10 when correct. So just a small correction.
Right. Thank you.
That will go with, okay?
Further discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next. 4.
4. Appointment of development officer. That this council appoint Darren Shute as development officer for the municipality of Annapolis to administer the municipality's land use bylaw and subdivision bylaw pursuant to the recommendation of the committee of the whole.
Thank you. Seconded by Councilor Prout. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Carried.
6.5, I move to recommend that municipal council approve policy 115 pension in accordance with 7-day notice given on April 9th, 2024.
Thank you. Seconded by Councilor Hudson. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. District 7.
I move that the municipal council repeal the following policies. AM-1.4.9, community grants policy. AM-1.4.11, community contributions policy. AM-1.4.12, tax exemption and reduction policy, pursuant to 7-day notice given on April 9th, 2024.
Thank you. Seconded by
Right here.
Councilor Dunn. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. District 8, please.
6.7, I recommend that municipal council approve policy 111, Annapolis County Planning Advisory Committee policy in accordance with 7-day notice.
Thank you. Seconded by Councilor Longmire. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. District 9, please.
I move that municipal council approve policy 112, area advisory planning committee policy as amended, pursuant to 7-day notice given on April 9th, 2024.
Thank you. Seconded by Councilor Prout. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. District 10.
I move that municipal council approve policy 110, Recreation and Cultural Reserve Fund pursuant to 7-day notice given on April 9th, 2024.
Policy 113.
You covered it.
6.9.
You're on 6.9.
I move to recommend that municipal council approve policy 113, public participation policy, in accordance with 7-day notice given on April 9th, 2024.
Thank you. Seconded by Councilor Dunn. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. District 11, please.
I move that municipal council approve policy 110, recreation and cultural reserve fund pursuant to 7-day notice given on April 9th, 2024.
Thank you. Seconded by Councilor Sheridan. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Thank you. And because you did it so well, Councilor Prout, please.
Being number one, sometimes it is. I move that municipal council approve policy 108, medical financial assistance, as amended in accordance with 7-day notice given on April 9th, 2024.
Thank you. Seconded by Councilor Conlon. Discussion. All in favor? Yes. Thank you. We'll now move to page 56. Comments, questions? Thank you very much. Thank you. We will now move to 57, Valley Waste and Kings Transit Intermunicipal Service Agreement. This is an information report. Comments? Deputy Ward?
Since I filed this report, there was an MSA meeting last Wednesday, and Valley Waste, I should say Valley Waste signed a new contract for garbage collection, which goes for 7 years, well, 6 years, with the possibility to extend 1 year, and the price goes up 18% over what we are currently paying, and that would begin in April 1st, 2025.
Councilor Dunn.
Thank you so much. They signed a new contract with who? Valley Waste
Oh,
signed it?
EFR, sorry. Yeah.
Pardon me?
Valley Waste signed it with EFR.
With EFR, okay, thank you.
There was 3 companies who put forward bids. EFR put forward 2 separate ones because we'd asked for separation or separate proposals on whether we continue with recycling collection, which is the extended consumer responsibility thing we talked about a few months back. So there's some EFR, as well as presenting the best price, also added some extra revisions in there that made it easier to deal with extended producer responsibility in the future.
Councilor Sherr.
So the new committee that was formed in regards to the study, and the study is almost complete or is complete, will they be coming forth with an ask that we rejoin with them?
The IMSA.
Yeah.
Yes, the IMSA has not gotten to the point where we have the governance all nailed out as to what we're going to bring forward. I think they will have a presentation of this is what our way to King's Trench to do in the future. And then, per our agreement, we also asked for options for us being customers as well as being partners for both of them. So, my expectation is they have to present us with both those options.
Because when I was reading through the notes here, it looks like it's set up that we are a partner, or will be a partner. So I don't know how the whole scheme of things will work without us, I guess is what I'm saying. So I'm just curious, time frame wise, when will they be coming forth?
So I don't know the details of how they sort out if we end up just being a customer or not involved at all in the future with, say, Valley Waste, what provisions are under contract for dealing with that. Because although we were there and asked our opinion, we weren't a voting member as far as Valley Waste goes. So in that we're not a voting member, it's also not our problem if the contract doesn't work out for them and we decide to not be involved in Valley Waste in a year. That's a bit crass, right as it sits right now. My personal perspective is that it's a well-functioning organization and that what we've seen in the past is we're better off with them, but we'll see what comes out of it still.
It's a
And
time thing.
if I could add,
Sure.
they want us
I see.
as a partner.
From what I heard, yeah.
And what's in there is one of the recommendations of this study.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Councilor Mansell, followed by Councilor Gunn, please.
Thank you. I just had one question about King's Transit. So I always get a little bit nervous when I see stats on ridership increase out of the pandemic, because I've seen statistics time and time again in 2023, 2024 saying everything's going up. But I'm just trying to figure out, what is that based off? What is that based off of 23, 24, or 21, 22?
That's year-to-date ridership is up 17%. So that would be compared to March last year, I guess, because that's a February number.
I'd be curious to know what the ridership was pre-pandemic, because that's what I've been trying to base things off of, because during COVID, everything flushed down.
So somewhere in the last week or two, I've seen their ridership numbers going back to 2018. So all the routes broken out as grass. I don't know. I'd have to go through and see which document it's in. I've got a fair stack of paper here and a few other ones that I can fine to distribute to you.
So it's not a real increase, it's just going back to ops normal.
So Annapolis County routes have bounced back better than King's Transit routes have. That we're back to a little bit above pre-COVID numbers. I looked at that. King's Transit ridership overall, going back to about 2016, is down. There is quite a drop in ridership leading into the pandemic. A couple of years before the pandemic, yeah. That was also mostly in the Kentville area, the core, what they call it.
Thank you.
Councillor Gunn, please.
Thank you so much. Where are they with the EPR? Is this actually going to come into effect this year? Is this going to just be for some, producers or what?
I'd like to know where we are with EPR, because the province has still not provided regulation how it's all going to roll out, let alone all the producers of waste, of like paper, all this stuff, form their own group, which is the abbreviation's 3 Ps, something or other. Anyways. And it's that organization that says whether they want to collect the recyclables themselves or whether they would subcontract Valley Waste to collect recyclables themselves. Their initial price was not terribly palatable to us, but everybody in New Brunswick, because they're going through the same thing, they're just about 6 months or a year ahead of us as far as extended producer responsibility goes and the contracting of it. Everybody in New Brunswick also said we didn't like your price, and so we're kind of hoping prices are going to come up from the producers for collection. But we'll see what happens. It's every time we start a conversation about a decision at the IMSA board is like, here's what we know, here's what we don't know, and the EPR stuff is we're waiting on the promise to come with regulation. I mean, we'll call last fall when I first mentioned EPR to you guys that it was problematic for just giving our Valley Waste.
We've been talking about EPR, if I can interject there, for about 10 years now.
Oh yeah, no, so
they've been talking EPR.
When the IMSA...
Way before I was ever involved.
Yeah, so no, just at the IMSA board, when they finally started to roll out regulation from the provincial level was just in the fall. And coming into the end of November, we still didn't have enough regulation from the province outlined to even come up with it was compromising our ability to come up with an RFP for waste collection that for the contract we just signed.
All right.
So I keep using R as in the IMSA, I need to separate those.
Nowhere.
Councillor Ball, please.
So the 18% increase is not thinking about the EPR part. Is that just 18% increase overall?
So we did two separate, there were 2 responses from EFR about waste collection. One was us picking up recyclables and one was us not picking up recyclables. So if we pick up recyclables the same way we do, that is the RFP we requested, but we have in writing with EFR is that we can switch contracts if we end up not collecting recyclables. Because if we don't collect recyclables, we can go to like the old style garbage trucks where it's just everything goes in one bin, and that ends up with some cost savings as well. However, if we end up collecting recyclables over the course of 7 years, there's also the possibility that Valley Waste can make a small margin on the collection.
Thank you.
Further comments?
When it comes to the ridership, and it says here up 17%, I would really like to know, and whether I'm sure they could know the number percentage-wise down at this end versus the numbers way up there. I'm sure that mix does not really support these large buses that are not energy conscious and environmentally damaging at best. I know there's lots of talk around electric vehicles or hybrids, but it would be interesting to know what our ridership between, say, Kings, our border there, down to the end and return. I always look at TCTS, and and I think about their buses that are sitting in the shop up there in Bridgetown, and what could be perhaps an option in the future to be that connector. Just leave it there.
Thank you. Further discussion? Turn the page. Bridgetown Dog Park Association lease agreement. Would like to do that, Councillor Hansel?
Thank you. I move that Municipal Council approve a 3-year renewable lease agreement between the municipality of the County of Annapolis and the Bridgetown Dog Park Association for the lease of a portion of PID 05149-505 for a dog park.
Seconded by Councillor Scott. Discussion, please. Councillor Longmire, followed by Councillor Hansel.
I'm going to compete with the other side. I'm glad to hear that the roof is underway. This is probably a question I think that Nancy can help with. So a portion of the PID number that's listed here. I'm just wondering. I know one of the councillors, I believe I recall Councillor Hudson asking about had there been any other parcels of land considered, because I recall back many years ago when I played ball that the field that they are slated here for had been used for tournaments, setting up campers, barbecues, where families could watch the tournaments and such. Because at that time there was no playground in that vicinity, right? And because of the way it's set up, and I know I've seen the post going up to support making people mindful of foul balls and all that, park at your own risk, there really isn't a lot of place for kids or families to kind of hang out, right? And so you have to walk over to the new school and play on that playground or what, and that takes you out of watching the events. And I realize this is about a lease, and I'm not for the ballpark. I'm just wondering if there had been any other options cited. I do know that the ball group had not been called on or asked for any kind of concerns around ball. And so I did find that just a little bit disappointing, I guess, because, it can. There are so many problems that could come about from, ball home runs. There's no tree line there, right? So I'll just leave it there. I was just curious if there had been at any time any other PIDs considered.
Absolutely. The initial request was initiated from the community, of course. And when we engaged, the first spot that they were really looking at was the old elementary school property that was for sale currently across from where our pool is in Bridgetown. So that was obviously not an option because that was in the middle of being sold. They looked around themselves for other opportunities. Behind the Bridgetown Arena was never specifically discussed until it came up in council here. Well, we were always probably 3/4 of the way through the process. The Recreation Association in Bridgetown was initially contacted. I believe Deborah, the Director of Community Development, contacted Mr. Clayton during the very initial talks of everything. And at that time, there wasn't any major concerns as the ball field in that specific area wasn't really being used by anything. That being said, when I've had meetings with the group, they are more than willing to work with the community. So if there is a special event going on at the ball field, then they would be more than willing to work with the community to make it safe, accessible, and to be a community partner, not to be on their own. So they are quite willing to say, if we have a large event going on in Bridgetown and we know about it at the ball field, then perhaps maybe, they could temporarily close for the day, make everybody extra aware. I do know that when I met with the group before, also their future plans included a net that's on either side currently of the ball field. It's not in their initial setup plan, but it was in their future plan to make that safe, that's a little bit more secure. And as you know, ball hasn't been as popular as it has been. I think, and just in my estimate from working with recreation, we'll see a lot of use in the ball field from now until the end of school. The schools are actually really getting on board with having baseball teams now, which I'm really happy about. And Annapolis and Bridgetown are actually getting together soon in Round Hill to have a ball game. But the group is more than willing to cooperate with the community, and I think those concerns can be mitigated by good communication. You're welcome.
Councillor Ansel, please.
Thank you. So I just wanted to, I had something else, but so I got a two-parter, I guess. So to jump off Councillor Longmire. So months ago when we first started this process, we did have that conversation. I just find it interesting that we're now having a conversation at the very end of it when there's been multiple opportunities. But during the discussions about the potential behind the arena, it was discussed in great detail that it might not have been suitable because of the conditions of that area, where it's mucky and it's just really not feasible. And I do understand people's concerns 100%. But when that was brought up, even then, the group, I believe, noted that they wanted to work with the community.
Absolutely.
So by having that caveat within the, not agreement, but unwritten agreement, that it really put my concerns at bay. Because we're really trying in the Bridgetown area to really work together as a community. And I feel that this might help spur some of this, where we're continuing to work together. We have the VIC that is currently being ramped by many, many volunteers. So it's nice to see this move forward. But my second part was just...
Ansel, I might say that you raised the subject of something we talked about before being brought up again.
Oh, I brought it up again. Okay, go ahead.
It's not unknown for councillors to bring subjects here regularly.
No, for sure. The second part was not really about this, but just contracts in general. So under section, on page 62, 5C1 or I, just around commercial liability insurance. Just a question I had. So I'm now seeing that more organizations and even insurance companies are going from 2 to 3 million. Is this something that we're looking at? Not for this contract, I just wanted to bring it up on the floor. And the only reason it piqued my interest is I'm going through the process of insuring my boat, and they're wanting $3 million liability. And then it's spurred with other conversation with other groups that are now increasing the liability to 3. I just wanted to put on the floor that maybe it's something we can think of moving forward of a potential option. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion.
Councillor, thank you so much. And unfortunately, it's not really on the dog park, but on $3 million insurance. It costs a lot. I've carried a couple $1 million insurance for years. And years and years and years. To go to $3 million, every time you go up $1 million, it costs a lot. It costs a lot to be in business these days. Thank you.
And however, I mean, during the day that I was in schools traveling with students to different occasions, and that's back in the day, I had to carry $2 million back then. So to go up to 3, it's reasonable as far as I'm concerned, because things are not getting any better, they're getting worse.
Oh, okay, we're getting off this.
But this is as is, and it's going to stay, correct? Yes?
Further discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Carried. Councillor comments. District 1.
Thank you. Welcome to District 1. Since our last regular council meeting, I've attended a number of meetings, including one with the Trans-County Transportation Society, a town hall with MP Chris D'Entremont, a meeting of the Police Advisory Board, along with the monthly meeting of the Wilmot Area Neighborhood Watch, and last evening's meeting of the Fire Services Committee. In addition, I've spoken with a number of constituents on a variety of issues. I'd like to expand a bit on a topic which I've mentioned in the past and in the last month's comments concerning the number of businesses which are located in District 1. From the Kings County line down to the corner of Old Mill Road and Route 1, there are a number of businesses which offer a variety of goods and services to the public. And in addition, if you were to go on any of the side roads or a number of the side roads off of Route 1, there are also local businesses, shops that offer a variety of opportunities. So I would encourage anyone, if you find yourself traveling through District 1, consider if something catches your eye or going to visit somebody, drop in. You might be I'm sure you'd be very pleased with what they have to offer. Finally, we're approaching the planting season. I know we've talked about that before. I'd encourage folks to be on the lookout for the mini farm vehicles which are on our highways, and they're beginning the process of preparing and planting the fields. I used to tease the former warden and about District 1 was the agricultural center, and I'm seeing the former warden's successor, Councillor Enslow, gave me the look like there's also lots of farming in District 3. And that's true. I like the bragging rights, so I put that out there. So they're going to get ready for what will hopefully be a bountiful harvest later in the season. And a reminder that it's our farmers, they're the ones who truly help to provide the food that feeds us all. So, and as an afterthought, postscript, Happy Earth Day coming up next week on the 22nd. Thank you.
Thank you.
Greetings from District 2. The side markets and going on my colleague Road, some farm markets are opening up again and support local. The first Saturday of every month is Marcus Hole Breakfast. Port George has them on Sunday. And we have a solar meeting tonight in Port George, and that is a private sector company that's considering a solar field on the Brooklyn Road. And so they're having a public meeting tonight in Port George at 6:30. So anyone wants to pop in on that. Just a couple things just over our county. I met with a gentleman a week ago and realized that he's quite an artist that we have in our community of Annapolis, County of Annapolis. He carves carvings and stuff, and they're sold all over the world, and for big money, like $50,000, $90,000. And sometimes we don't realize that these individuals do live within our county. Another aspect is to be very proud of a granddaughter that my daughter was born and raised in Annapolis County. She went to Montreal to support her swim team, and she came in 8th overall of Canada. So we have some very good talent, and we should be proud of it to be a part of them.
Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to say I'm glad that it's sunny out and that we've had a few days of sun. I know that my property is starting to finally dry up, and I live in farming country, so I know the farmers are starting to be a little happy that things are drying up a bit. So just to touch on a few things. So recently I've had the opportunity to attend a lot of activities throughout not just my district but the county, including, I know it's not council related, but I attended the 100th anniversary of the Royal Canadian Air Force Gala in Halifax, which was phenomenal. We really don't have a huge connection in Annapolis County because the base isn't here. However, after unification, the Air Force was trained in Cornwallis, so we do have that connection. Attended and served at the Lions Breakfast. Everyone's welcome. It's coming on the 4th of May. I've been spending a lot of time working and talking to various citizens throughout my district on concerns of roads and especially Church Street. It's a hot topic. As well as a lot of people's interest in the 5-year capital plan. There's a lot more support and the thrillment from them that we have the 5-year plan. They don't always agree with everything within it, and it's probably the same item that we're all hearing. As well as I just wanted to mention the amount of volunteerism that's going out. It seems like as we roll into spring and the weather gets better, we have more and more volunteer activities. So just one thing I want to point out is the amount of work that's been put into the Visitor Information Center at Jubilee Park. They're on day 4 or 5 now of cleaning and really revamping that. That way we're ready to go for the upcoming tourist season. So just a few things within my district that I would like to put forward as a note for the general public. The 23rd of April is the AGM for the Friends of the Bridgetown Area Library, and it's going to be at 1 p.m. at the Bridgetown Library, as well as the AGM for the Bridgetown and Area Chamber of Commerce is going to be held at Junction 16 at 6:30. So a note on the Bridgetown and Area, it's just not for businesses within the former town limits, it's area. So if you even live in Lawrencetown or further down the line towards Annapolis, please feel free to join the Chamber of Commerce. May 4th is the Lions Breakfast, as well as, I don't have the dates in front of me, but over the next month we're going to see various farmers markets opening, and please support your local businesses and farmers. Thank you.
Good morning from District 4. Reports on activities. Lots of farming in District 4 as well, with the related activities ramping up with the spring. Changeover. Once we keep tractors on the road, just a little bit of fun along my ways, just to keep an eye on safety. There's always support the community, always continues to be work to maintain these facilities for our activities in the communities and surrounding areas. The county supports community goals. It's a great support. Meetings are being held by the county for recreation and physical and mental wellness through the county. It elevates the importance to get information in from county residents so this municipality can promote and support wellness activities. Please remember with cleaning up and the grass growing, it creates a season for mowing as well. There's been some complications in the last year or two that accidents have happened by people blowing grass in the wrong direction. And grass on the highway is very slippery for motorcycle flooding. So please keep in mind what your activities are, what you're doing, and your surroundings when you're doing things. Just to protect your neighbors. Spring's upon us. Get in, get healthy, get active.
Greetings from District 5. First, I would like to mention a very special lady who celebrated her 103rd birthday this past March. Doris Holliday, happy belated birthday wishes are coming your way today. This beautiful lady still resides in her home in Hillsburg and is a force to reckon with. This week is National Volunteer Week, April 14th through to the 20th. I am so proud to stand with the county and recognize these amazing giving individuals. It is because of your generous spirit, along with your contributions to the community, that continue to make a difference for all of us. This year's theme is Every Moment Matters. It is just that. To make a difference, it doesn't have to be big. Sometimes it is just the simplest of gestures. Thank you to each and every one of you for brightening our communities. I have heard from many citizens in my district how pleased they were with receiving their copy of the 2024 Community Events Guide. I personally would like to mention the cover of this guide, recognizing the beautifully restored Schaffner Point Lighthouse in Port Royal. If you haven't been, make it a destination to check out this coming summer. On Sunday, June 9th, and this is for everyone who would like to build a cabin, June 9th at 10 a.m., there will be a beginner cabin building workshop at Margold Center for Arts and Education, Holistic Living and Bookstore. This workshop will be hosted by owners Russell and Marina Florin at 514 Granville Road. You will pass the Schaffner's Point Lighthouse on your way. Take note. If interested, you can follow Margold on Facebook or visit Margold Books in Annapolis Royal and inquire on further information. Bayside Farms is located at 1126 Mackenzie Mountain Road on the Bay of Fundy side, Litchfield, Shore Road West, and is a wonderful place to stop and pick up fresh veggies, of course, in season, right? Frozen berries, all of which are spray-free. Bayside Farms offer everything from sweet potato, kale, celery, onion, along with their own maple syrup and birch syrups, cold pressed juices, and so much more. Shop local, it's always satisfying. Tonight, it will compete with a already mentioned solar meeting in Councillor Connell's district, but tonight, April 16th, 7 to 9 at the Lower Granville Hall, 3551 Granville Road, Port Royal. Our Annapolis County's recreation team, Nancy Whitman and Kyle Gard, will host an opportunity to come together, share ideas on recreation that will benefit all of our communities. There will be more dates to follow as they will be hosting at different venues throughout the county. So catch a date and join in. Have a wonderful April.
Thank you. District 6, Frank and Dora's Eat-In Takeout reopens on the 19th of April. It's located on Highway 1 where Cornwallis Park meets Deep Brook. You like the queue? If you do, there's pool now at the Plymouth Legion on Wednesday evening. That's pool of the type with a pool table and a queue. Cornwallis Park Community Breakfast on Saturday, May 11th. The Cornwallis Park Community Association lunch on the 27th of April to honor all of the volunteers in District 6. and this is volunteer week as well. A citizen talked to me about the service from Bell Canada. Apparently on his home phone, the display said no line, no line. So he calls Bell Canada, and in under an hour, 2 actual breakages in the line, and service was restored, and he called that to my attention. All the talk about markets opening, I remind you that the Deep Brook Market in the Lions Club Hall is open Wednesday afternoons year-round. Thank you. District 7.
Good morning from District 7. Firstly, I just want to mention that perhaps you all were aware that last week was spring cleanup in Bridgetown and some of the surrounding areas. It amazes me every year, the volume and the quantity of things that are put in roadside, right? And the second part of that is I'm amazed at how much stuff is put out and is actually picked up. That old saying that one man's trash is another man's treasure is so very true. Other than that, I just want to mention that as far as events, there is a turkey dinner on April 20th at the West Dalhousie Community Hall. This dinner is for the benefit of Annapolis County Ground Search and Rescue, which is a very important organization in the county. There will be 2 servings, one at 4:30 and one at 5:45. Those wishing to attend, the prices are adults are $17, youth aged 5 to 16 years of age, $8.50, and if you're under 5, it's free. Other than that, I'd just like to mention the 2 recreation meetings that are taking place in District 3 and District 7 in the next little while. The first one is at West Dalhousie Community Hall on April 23rd. And the next one is in Bridgetown on May the 14th at 2024. Both these meetings start at 7 o'clock. And I guess I just ask that, as many people attend as possible, to provide their feedback, to the county. Thank you.
Mr. Gate.
Thank you. It's coming up on Earth Day. I'm hoping everyone has given their garden some thought, some preparation time. I've had many meetings with constituents, namely about road conditions in the southern parts of the county, out towards Kedgie, identifying the necessary road repairs and ditches that need draining and bushes need cutting back. I know it's not the county's job, but by God, I tell them the 1-800 number that the province has got out there and get them to call that, and I call along with it myself. Usually works well, I gotta say. As well, I've met with constituents to talk about the importance of community halls. Especially how young families need to get involved to help keep these much needed resources afloat. One such community hall near my home is that in Upper Clements, and there will be a meeting in the evening of the 24th with the aim to engage more community participation at the hall. I hope local residents can take the time to take part to problem solve and pitch in. And speaking of community halls, organizations and events, the Milford and Community Association is hosting the famed Maple Fest this Saturday at both noon and 4 p.m. This is a fundraiser for the hall that features baked beans, ham, potato, green salads, pancakes, maple syrup, pie, and it is a great event. And I know it'll be a big success, as it always is. And I got to mention, I'll be there serving tea and coffee. The Bear River and Area Health Fund is having a fundraiser on the Friday the 19th at 5:30 at the Bear River Legion to help raise funds for the roof. This is a sausage and sauerkraut supper and promises to be a good one. Please come out and support this worthy cause, please. And I'm enormously pleased to recognize the achievement of Clementsville's Jeremy Sanford, who was selected by a committee here at the municipality as our provincial selection for Volunteer of the Year. Jeremy is an incredibly active member in a number of community groups, and namely with the Foresters Hall in Clementsville, where he grew up and is raising his family. Congratulations, Jeremy, and thank you and all those volunteers who model civic mindedness and care for their communities. Still, next on the topic of civic engagement, there is a town hall style meeting in Digby on May 4th from 11 to 6 p.m. at the Legion. The topics are broad ranging, covering municipal, provincial, and federal interests. All are welcome to discuss relevant topics. I continue to hear from constituents concerned about the lack of recreation options in the western and southern reaches of the county, especially the need for swimming lessons for children. I encourage all to come out to the public meetings on recreation for our county. In District 8, the meeting is on Tuesday the 30th at 7 p.m. at the Bear River Legion. That is in 2 weeks from today. Mark it down, please. And of course, citizens are encouraged to attend any of the meetings they can. And those times and dates and locations are posted on county websites. And if I can just interject one quick little bit. When I was in New Brunswick, municipal meetings are not just posted. They've got little signs they go up and they stick in their communities. Town hall meeting this day at so-and-so. I thought it was a great idea. And I'm particularly excited about an upcoming information session concerning the new Bear River water system on April 23rd between 2 and 6 p.m. This meeting will take place at the Bear River Legion, and all are welcome to come and learn more about it. This has been in the works for a very long time, and I'm delighted that it's happening. And thank you, and happy garden season. Get your seeds started. Thank you.
Councillor Gunn, the meeting in Digby is sponsored by, hosted by?
I got a notice on it. I forget the name. It's a Concerned Citizens Group. Sorry.
Of Digby.
Digby, Annapolis County. It's Annapolis County Digby Group. That's together. Citizen engagement. That's what it's called. Citizen engagement.
Anybody knows who's sponsoring this or hosting it?
I believe it's a United. Called United.
There's a bunch of
Billy
different.
Lee Baker and Emily Baker.
There's a bunch of different groups. I got notice of it in an email. There's a bunch of different groups. Political thinking. It's just I got notice of it, and it's Digby, Annapolis. There you have it.
Thank you. District 9.
Thank you. First of all, I just want to thank the recreation team for coming out to Niptaw to have their meeting. There wasn't a lot of people out, but it was a beautiful night, and we did see a lot of community members out walking. The other couple things I just want to mention on Councillor Connell's comments with the solar meeting tonight. It's actually at 6 tonight. There is another one online at 6:30 another night, so it is 6 o'clock tonight. And my regular Niptaw bingo, the next one is April 27th, every 2 weeks. And Wednesdays at the Church Hall in Niptaw, they have a get-together for anyone who wants to attend. They have games and snacks, and that's Wednesday mornings. And yard sale season is starting. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Madam Madam Clerk, I've emailed my comments to you, although in a very tardy fashion. Annapolis County Exhibition is August 12th to 17th this year, featuring on the Riverside stage the big concert at the end. Jess Moskalu, I think. I've not heard the name pronounced before. So
Yes, Moscow.
yeah, there we go. Anyways, August 17th at 8:30 p.m. Lunds Mill is hosting Babes, Babes, Babes Burlesque and Drag Tour, Wednesday, April 24th. You can buy the tickets online. See their website for the link. And if you're looking for something near Springfield, the East Dalhousie Community Center has a full slate of activities, lunches, seed swaps, and socials.
Thank you. Madame.
Merci. I'll start with the spring cleanup, and it's no different than what our councillor Hudson was saying. That things are being put outside, and other people like to go through them and repair or reuse, which is grand. Which brings us to our Earth Day, which is also something that we have to think of, which is La Journée de la Terre, and we need to do what we can to preserve our Earth and move to a clean Earth. Next, I was thinking about our volunteers. I saw an array of pictures and write-ups of our volunteers that have been presented by different organizations, and every single one is a bonus to our county. They are the people that make our county great, and we thank them, and I congratulate Jeremy to be the chosen one to go to the province from our county. We had a celebration for Arthur Human at Three Rivers Community Centers for his 90th birthday. And one of the citizens, we'll start with that came to visit and celebrate his birthday with him was his elementary school teacher, who is at the age of 102. Wow. So it was definitely a good gathering for the group on the mountain to celebrate his birthday with, and I also have another lady who is 102 or 3 that also is in attendance. So great celebrations that are going on, as well as the community hall that can be used for anything and everything that you can think of. Again, check the website. There are things happening at the center, so at Three Rivers, so it's always interesting to see. Other than that, I see people going around doing more work in their yard and probably getting ready for gardens. My green thumb is not that green. I try, but it's a work in process. We'll leave it at that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next item is council motion tracking list that we have. And we have 3 minutes to go, but I think that the RCMP will accommodate us. Here to deliver a presentation is Staff Sergeant Maxwell. I promise you're not going to read every word of it.
I'll promise not to read any if you don't want me to. I'll take questions. Can I close this? Okay. Hi everyone, back again. I'm not really a reader, but I will go through some of this, and then of course I find the most important conversation comes through dialogue at the end anyhow. There's some pleasantries at the beginning. I'm newly promoted staff sergeant here, but I was here in the same role last year. And I'm here on behalf of our commanding officer, Dennis Daly, and our Southwest Nova District Policing Officer, Superintendent Dan Morrow. This is a big year for our county. As I'm sure you've had time to look through, there's a lot of stuff going on around here. As far as criminal activity, we've been very busy, and unfortunately, it's been off to a busy start to this new fiscal year as well.
but we're going to keep at it. So last year, our three main priorities were data-led traffic enforcement, property crime, and comprehensive education. We met, I would say, all of our expectations and our priority goals for the year. Traffic enforcement was up quite a lot, actually. I was happy to see the success we were able to have with traffic enforcement. This year, we were able to write 131 tickets more than the year before and 76 warnings more than the year before. I'm careful with statistics like this because the goal can't always be more prosecution, more tickets. We will start to shift eventually our goals to some other measures, but it was nice to see. One of the big complaints that we get is not enough police visibility. Often police cars with lights and sirens on, pulling cars over equals visibility. So people do like to see that in their neighborhoods, and we had a good year for traffic enforcement. Property crime, the number of complaints reported to the police with respect to property crime was up a small amount, but our solve rate is almost double. So we solved a lot more property crimes this year than we did the year prior. And there's a lot that goes into that. Human resourcing, police work, luck. There's a lot. Community involvement, participation in investigations, but we were able to prosecute almost double what we did last year, which was nice. Comprehensive education. Sharon Elliott and Adam Burns always take the lead on this for us, and it was no exception this year. Sharon and Adam really do some wonderful things. In fact, it's this fiscal year, but Adam just held his Cops and Kids camp at the Tim Hortons camp in Tatamagouche. He takes like 80 students out there, and they go through a lot in a short time, and there's a lot of lessons learned by young people, which I really appreciate because teachers and educators are involved in this process. But when things happen at the camp, the leaders of the camp may have a different way of dealing with situations than sometimes kids see in their schools or in other scenarios. And there's a lot of communication and conversations and difficult conversations. Instead of just sending people away, we try to bring them in to be a part of the team. And we use these conflicts as a way to build relationships. And they had a great weekend. They learned a lot and it was awesome. So that Cops and Kids is one of Adam's big things. Wits and Leads program is a big thing for Adam. And then Sharon, I won't be able from memory to talk about everything that Sharon does, but her legal sessions that she does, and that's about wills and power of attorney. The fraud reduction campaign she did this year was massively important. So year over year, we were seeing a large increase in elders being targeted by fraud and falling victim to fraud. So Sharon went out and took a really strong stance and gave a lot of presentations about internet safety, fraud awareness, scam awareness, and we're starting to see the fruits of that. There's people calling us saying, I know I'm trying to be scammed, but I'm not sharing my information. So the early returns on Sharon's presentations are very positive. And they're both extremely busy. Year over year, we have some statistics, calls for service. We were up about 1,300 calls for service over the year before. The year before was busy. Last year was busy. The members who are out on the road, they're busy. The next line is criminal code calls for service, which is the real crimes, the break-and-enters, the assaults, the impaired driving. Those were up by about 150 calls as well, or 130 calls as well. So more crime being reported, more complaints being reported to the police. As I said earlier, earlier, so we gave 470 tickets last year, which is up, I think 130, I said over the year before, 192 warnings. We had 30 checkpoints, 23 impaired driving charges. That's a stat that, while it is a good number, I'm hoping to see that improve this year. Road safety is one of the most important things in our province and in our country, and that's how a lot of people get hurt. I know everybody here pays attention to the news, so we recently had a collision where some children got hurt in the county, and we just hate seeing people unnecessarily get injured, so impaired driving is something that we're going to focus on. Do you want to, I don't mind if you go now. No. Okay. 27 roadside suspensions, so that would be something like legislation in place that if somebody doesn't blow over 0.08, but they blow somewhere between 0 and 0.08, so it's not a fail, but there's administrative suspensions for having a certain amount of alcohol in your system that doesn't exceed the criminal legal amount for driving, and that would equal a roadside suspension for the amount of time varies. Criminal record check. So this is just something our administrative staff looks after mostly. Sometimes they end up on my desk if they're complex, but in 2022 there was 1,334. This year there was 1,446. In digging deeper, like 7 years ago, there was like 650 of these. And now there's 1,400, and we all know, especially working in this business, everybody needs a criminal record check for everything nowadays. We don't think of this, but this is also becomes a lot of work at the office. Prisoner counts. I put some context there. Numbers all across the country were down during COVID. But in 2020, we had 49 prisoners, 2021, 70, 2022, 87, 2023, 123. And that doesn't represent, often if we arrest somebody, let's say in Bear River, sometimes we end up lodging them in Digby, or if we arrest somebody in Wilmot, we might lodge them in Kingston, or if we have multiple prisoners, we have to use multiple cell blocks sometimes. So the prisoner numbers are actually higher than what's reflected here, but these are the prisoners that we've had in custody here in our county. Human resources, that's a big topic. So right now, I'm standing here in front of you. I'm the district commander here for the district. We recently went through a human resource process to identify our new sergeant. And that's going to be Lindsay Powers. She currently works on the South Shore. But she's in her transfer process, so like many organizations, she has a house to sell and then she'll move up here, but she's in that process right now. Corporal Tim Hawks is here. He's been here for 6 years. Corporal Pascal Boudreau is here. He's been here for almost 2 years now. Corporal Tim McFarlane, his first shift is on the 23rd of this month. He's coming here from Canmore, Alberta. I wasn't involved in the selection process, but I think we're getting a good one. He has a lot of experience doing a lot of different types of policing, and he's going to live right here in the area in Annapolis Royal, which is interesting and cool. Good. We have, as of our new 4 positions, thanks to the county and the town of Middleton, we have 18 general duty constable positions. We currently have 14 on the road working, not today, but in general. We have 1 person who's off duty sick. We have 1 member in transfer process from the Northwest Territories. We have 1 in the transfer process from Newfoundland. And I have on here, we were supposed to get a cadet in May. We're no longer getting that cadet in May, and that could be a number of things. Sometimes people working their way through cadet field training or the cadet program at Depot don't make it. Sometimes we're talking about an actual person when we have people identified, so sometimes they identify crisis somewhere else, I don't know what happened, but I thought we were getting a cadet in May, and we're not any longer. But we'll work to fill that position. Our school resource officer is on pre-retirement leave. Her formal last shift will be in July, and we'll be working to fill that position in the meantime. We have our 2 street crime constables working. One's off on training right now in Montreal. Community programs and senior safety, Adam and Sharon as always. Our court liaison is Kim Muller, who's from the area and does outstanding work for us. And our 3 detachment assistants are all working. So, that's a lot. But it's important to note that our detachment today, comparatively to over the previous number of years, is healthy and productive and working, and that probably lends to a lot of the press releases that we see about the police work that we're getting done. And I don't know what it was like before I was here, but like the Annapolis District, in my opinion, right now, it's a pleasure to work there as a police officer. It's a great environment. It's a great place to work. So, it's we really appreciate being here and serving the community. Our police vehicles, we have a well-functioning fleet. We are trying to add or augment our complement of vehicles with some more off-road capable vehicles, maybe a pickup truck or something. Every time the members have to drive into a river valley or a farmer's field with a Dodge Charger, I spend hours trying to clean it to make it road functional again. But so we're trying to make that happen. But really, our fleet is good. And then there's a whole slew of media releases that I'm sure everybody has taken the time to go through. And those alone will tell you the year that we've had. In addition to those, we've recently had some doozies. It's busy. The men and women who work here enjoy it. It's fun. It's a great place to work and live. And we're all very happy to be here working, but it is busy. And in the upcoming year, through the local PAB and through the Town of Middleton's Police Advisory Board, we've identified some upcoming priorities for the upcoming year. I know Council has already been made aware, or however that system works. But we're going to focus on intelligence-led policing, reduction of property crime, road safety and impaired driving, police visibility and public engagement. And then some other things that were brought to my attention that we will fit into those priority headings are drug abuse, homelessness, and domestic violence. Those things are always a priority for policing. I'm not a person, and I've said this here before, homelessness isn't necessarily at the purview of the police, and I certainly don't believe in the criminalization of homelessness. But we are a willing and able partner to work with other agencies, which we already do, to try to help come up with some solutions to homelessness and houselessness. And that's really the report that I have for you.
Thank you. Councilor Gunn, please.
Thank you. And I want to thank you guys for all that you do right off the bat. And I want to commend you, sir, for how that you guys manage to keep events that happen in our communities so quiet and out of the radar. You know, I've got information this morning of something that happened in my district a while ago. And my God, you know, nobody's talked about that event. And it was quite a serious event as far as I'm concerned. That would happen in a small little district like mine. And but that, you know, it didn't get out in the papers. It wasn't just broadcast in a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Just nonsense talk over it. I gotta thank you for that. Now, my question, and I have two. I'll ask the easy one first. Is it normal to see police cruisers sometimes that still have stickers on them, but they've been all painted white? I ran one and it freaked me out here a while ago. This is like the year after Port of Pick. And I saw this cruiser in my community, and this guy, and where's he have an RCMP uniform on? But he was going around and he had this cruiser, and it had just been looked like somebody just painted over a regular police cruiser with all the stickers.
So we have subdued deckled vehicles.
That's what I've heard they get.
Here locally in the county, we have a silver or a gray one, not a white one. But traffic services do come through. And the only time you would see people driving marked or these semi-marked police cars not in uniform would be like for maintenance, like if they're out of service or a garage or something. But in those instances, people wouldn't be like using the lights and sirens or anything like that. They would just be taking them wherever that they have to go. But if you have anything like that, call me right away and I'll pick it. That would be my...
Thank you. Thank you for that, because it kind of freaked me out. But, and actually I heard that they, you know, no, the RCMP do have those. I just never really got a good, you know, answer to it. My next one is a little more difficult. We had a problem here a few years ago where our fire services would show up at fatalities on the highway. And our fire services would end up being there today, the whole day, doing traffic control. And I thought that was very unfair on our volunteer fire department. So since then, I've noticed that a lot of traffic control companies, is that the idea now when there's a fatality and the highway needs to be looked after? Is it the RCMP now that would call these traffic control companies to get them to set up an exact, because the Department of Highways doesn't do it anymore. I don't know what happened there, but something happened along the way, and they relinquished that responsibility. Something happened.
I don't think
you could give me an answer.
I'm not sure if it's up to them to relinquish that responsibility. I think it's written down that it is DOT's responsibility. So often we work with our partners. Sometimes for a short time it is still fire. Sometimes it's DOT, sometimes it's the RCMP, sometimes it's traffic services. But a lot of times, and this isn't going to be the answer you're looking for, but it's patchwork. Because if we have a serious fatal collision or a serious collision with injuries, the most inefficient use of a police officer's resource is to be standing at the end directing traffic when we need to be investigating what happened. So we look for whatever manner possible to find somebody to take on that responsibility for us. If we can't, we end up doing it, and that could prolong the investigation or what have you. But we do rely on many other partners to handle that. And it often might go in, we'll call the first person and they're not available. We might call the second person, maybe they're available to help for a while, but as you said, not all day. And so on and so forth until we can sort out the situation that we can, the best that we can.
It's because, from what I understand, your fatality investigators are kind of like a specialized job for in the RCMP. And we don't have one of those for every county or every detachment or anything like that. So they're spread throughout the province, and sometimes it takes a while to get them. Just to follow up on that, with other things, do you guys have any more authority than maybe the fire departments, when it comes to accidents like we had on the shore here a while ago, on the bay shore, I should say, they're getting a hold of DHS.
No.
Because that was a real cluster of a mess over there during that one. And we, as citizens, would like to get that straightened out.
I think that would be a good initiative.
Thank you.
Councilor Ainsworth, please.
I'll be very limited on what I say, but thanks for coming. So first thing I just want to say about the new sergeant that's coming. I'm happy to see that the person selected comes from a rural background. We're not getting someone from a city type, so that the fact that this person's coming from the South Shore, I have great aspirations for. The other thing that I want to bring up is the fact under human resources, there's only one constable on sick leave. And I know personally, since visiting the detachment a few times, that over the past couple of years, this number has continually dropped. And I want to thank you as the detachment commander for the effort that you put into managing your team, and the fact that they're feeling that they want to be there and that they have the support, and it really shows in the work that they're doing, obviously. So I just want to say thank you for the work that you do, and hopefully we'll be down to zero.
That's the goal.
But thank you.
I appreciate that. I won't take all the credit because that would be unjust of me. But there's a lot of people, all of the members there work really hard. But one of the things that we do try to do is foster an environment where people can be healthy and supported and have the opportunity to succeed. So that's what we're working on.
Councilor Rama, followed by Councilor Connolly.
Thank you, and thank you, Sergeant Maxwell, for coming today. The report is amazing, and I must say, I do see more cars around all the time, and that's really warming my heart because there's lots of activity that we know we need to take some better control of. My question, I guess, would be, and I don't want to make more work for an already pressed business in policing, but the Narcan. Is there anything around Narcan, such as an info session that could be offered with the rise in drugs and the unpredictable drugs? We all know that there's tranquilizers, horse tranquilizers, elephant tranquilizers, everything,
That is interesting. So we are all the police officers and all the medics, and I don't know, but I imagine the volunteer fire departments carry Narcan, and we're trained to administer Narcan. I think a pharmacist would be the best person.
There's a lot of people who aren't comfortable going in to get Narcan kits. I'm just thinking, our halls in our communities would be a great way to bring awareness.
Yeah.
Just something to think about.
All I was thinking is, I wonder if we could partner with somebody to do some kind of public awareness about the uses of Narcan and the importance of the number of people having it, because it is important, and we have had members successfully deploy Narcan, and who knows, maybe sometimes it saves people's lives. So it's.
Thank you for that. Thank you for everything today.
Councilor Connolly, please.
Well, thank you for coming. I probably know the answer, but I'm going to ask is, under the summary tickets, what funding you get from that, is that goes back to our detachment? Or does that your funding you receive from tickets, does that come back to our attachment, or does that go to?
That's a better question for maybe. It comes back to the county.
So all offense tickets come back to?
Not all of our personnel. So we don't get any of that. And that's the best process, to be honest, that it goes to the county and then the county and other levels of government see fit how to spend that money. You wouldn't want to incentivize police to increase their budgets by, that's just my opinion. So I think that's the way that it is right now. But the county gets a portion.
Oh, okay. Because obviously, we're all out on the street.
Okay.
And as many times that I see people on their phone, we could pay for an officer.
Yeah.
By just standing on the street corner and melting by the street lights and watch the people that come up there that are on their phone, go through the stoplights, along with the speeding, and I'd probably get a fine for speeding as fast as anyone else. But one thing that really stuck in my mind is that I went to a bike rally in Truro a couple years ago, and we went to Wentworth and stayed in Wentworth. And when I went to a local store, the store owners were the first ones to tell everyone that come in the store, watch your speed on this section of road because the authorities are here all the time and they will not deal with over speeders. So the community was educating every new face I saw come into that store. And it was amazing because all of us watched their speed.
It's in cops, right?
And no, we
That's
did
the oldest trick in the book.
No. We did see the cops present, but it was more concerning, it was more pleasure to know that the community group was the advocates for that.
Yeah, you're right.
Right? And they told everybody that came into the store because I wasn't the only one that came in that day. And I thought, you know, when you got the public behind you, telling people when they come here, hey guys, the RCMP is very strict on speeding in this area. Watch your speed. People pay attention to that, and probably more than what they're paying attention to those signs. So it was kind of nice to see that, and I just wondered where the ticket money came, because like I said, when I can stand on the street corner waiting to go across the crosswalk and see everyone on the phone, I don't know if it's getting worse.
You know, it's really interesting. Like, I think there could be a study done on human nature, because right in that area, we act like a lot of the tickets that are in this report come right there. And I could have all the police officers working every day, assigned that area, giving tickets every day, and it seems that that behavior wouldn't change. So we give a lot of tickets there, and they know the people who live on that street call me and they think it's hilarious that they see all this police action on that street. And you're right, if we set up that red light intersection in downtown Middleton every day and just had a police that are standing in their jeans and t-shirts and a police either way on the road, we could just radio and be like, here, get such and such a car. So we can do it all day, every day. We don't have the manpower for that because there's other things at play, but you're right. You're right. But the number of tickets that we do get there seems to not change behavior.
Okay. My second thing was to do with the individuals that when you go to court, especially when it's break and enters and to do with other people's lives. There's no process, or doesn't seem to be any process in place where the courts asked how it affected the ones that had it done. Like we know that right now there's several cases in the courts of break and enters.
Yeah.
But none of the residents that had the break and enters have never been contacted to see how it affected them. So it used to be that, you know, you'd see some cases that they asked, you know, for the public to speak up on how it affected them. But it just doesn't seem to have that anymore. It seems like they just go to court, they get dealt with what they've done as far as through the courts. But how it affected the communities is never in a part of that.
So the mechanism, and I won't argue if it's good or bad or otherwise, but the mechanism for that is called a victim impact statement. And I'm not sure, and I can't really say at which rate they're being done, but that's normally done for victim services. I am led to believe that a lot of people who try to participate in the victim impact statement system think that system leaves a lot to be desired. But it is powerful when people get up in front of the courts and talk about how this has impacted their lives. So I wrote that down, and that is something that I'll take up with the proper avenues to see if we're using that as meaningfully as we could be.
Yeah, because I'm getting calls from, and I know that when there's an activity in a community, a lot of times that community clams up because they don't want retaliation. They're actually live in fear, and it's a shame that we're kind of sliding in that direction, that our citizens live in fear. I've been told some of them even give them cash to leave their yard, to get them out of their yard because they're scared to death of what they'll do if they can't give them something. But that's a hard way for our citizens to live.
You're darn right. So I would say this to that. The health and wellness of our communities will greatly depend on taking that power back from people who are involved in criminal activity. But it's going to be a hard first step, because this is something that we face for sure. When we start talking to people and everybody says they didn't see anything, didn't hear anything, and we know that can't be the case. But people aren't obligated to tell the police what happened. You're not allowed to lie to the police, but you don't have any obligation to tell them something if you don't want to. But I think community participation in police investigations is the one biggest thing that we could change that could really have an impact on the way that some of these things get dealt with at the court level, through restorative justice systems, in many different ways. A lot of that has to do with the relationship between the community and the police, but it also has to do with outcomes in court. If people think that they don't stick their neck out and then nothing happens in court, and then the neighbor who committed these crimes is going to be out to get them, that's a hard thing to overcome. But I think if as a community we can overcome that, it would be a powerful movement, and we would take control back from the people who are doing these wrongdoings. So I would encourage those people. I know it's difficult. It's important to talk to the police on the record, and let's not let these people get away with this.
Thank you. Councillor Prout, followed by...
I was ready to see who was following. Thank you for the report, and I can comment on as others have, but from the perspective of a councillor who sits on the police advisory board, and I know how good you've been about coming there and the discussions that we've had. And as someone who attends the neighborhood watch in Wilmot and surrounding area, and I've seen the increased support that's come from the RCMP and from Mr. Burns in particular, and to see the growth of the new neighborhood watch in Middleton, and there's been some talk of over District 11 as well. There have been people that way looking into bringing that back, and that support goes a long ways to what the community, the detachment are both looking for, and I've seen that over the last couple of years, and I appreciate that, and I know the people do, so thank you.
Councillor Sheridan.
Thank you. I just want to thank you very much for all that you do, and thank you for coming in today. And I represent the Mi'kmaq area, and I know you've been really, really busy this past week or week and a half, and I truly appreciate you trying to keep our community safe. I know it's not easy. I know there's still a lot to do there, but it's really appreciated. So my question is regarding the speed signs that the county puts up randomly. Is it beneficial for us to move those in different areas of the community? Is it helpful for you if we were to put them in on different roadways or?
So this is a topic we've had a lot at the PAB. I think I didn't come overwhelmingly prepared for this specific question, but I think the data shows that those signs have initial impacts, and then over time they reduce their effectiveness. And we talked at the PAB about a bit of a plan, which we haven't enacted yet, but I do think it's a good idea, where we could even announce we're going to move these speed signs to your area so people know it's coming. And in that announcement, we're going to say, 7 days later or 2 weeks later, there's going to be heavy police enforcement in this area. And I guarantee if we announce it publicly, we put the speed signs in place, we tell everyone what we're going to do, we're still going to nail people speeding. So that is something that I would like to do, but we have a lot of stuff that we're working on. I do think that's a really good idea, but sometimes if I find myself spreading myself too thin, it's hard to do anything well. You can do a lot of stuff poorly or some things well, but I think that's a really important thing that we should at least try over a 3 or 4 month period and see how it goes. But I think there's effectiveness in moving those signs to answer your question.
Thank you.
Anyone else for the first time? Councilor O'Donnell.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. And it certainly shows the same enthusiasm that you do at a PAB, and you're always looking for answers or changing things that will work better. And with just that considered, with everything else that you have to do and take a hold of and direct, it's very good to see that you're so enthused about it and you're there. And you're willing to work and you're willing to put the hours in and you're willing to go the 1.5 miles. And as we discussed, as you said, at the PAB, we certainly have a plan. We give you some initiative and some equipment, and you use Part B. And Part B is you're being warned, here it is, let's see what happens. But it's always good to know that that you are on the road and you're looking at what's going on and you're looking for the best for each of our communities. Some are more busier than others at a certain time of year, and I'm sure now that the summer months are coming in, it's going to be a different story. It could be busier. In any case, thank you for being here, and as always, it's a pleasure having you on our team. That's the way I see it anyway. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Gunn.
Sir, just a comment. I believe that neighborhood watch is one of the best things that we can have in all of our communities throughout the county. We keep an eye on people. That's our job. I was going to ask you about the flashing speed signs, and in your opinion, if you thought they actually work. I believe they do. I think they help a lot in my Granville community, because I have several communities, but in the Granville community, I think it just helped the speeding situation there immensely in the last few years.
Okay, thank you. Further.
That's all right. I've heard you say a couple times that you don't believe in criminalizing homelessness. It's very sincere each time you say it, and I really appreciate that a lot. It's something I definitely look for in policing. I'm curious, you've got your impaired driving charges here. I'm curious if you could break out like how many of those are related to another incident, like say a car accident, and then you charge somebody versus say a roadside stop or a checkpoint. How do they break out? Or do you know right there?
I couldn't give you exact numbers, but I can.
I was expecting nothing more than just a generality.
So, what we don't do well enough, in my opinion, is if police officers catch impaired drivers without a collision or without a call for service of somebody calling to say, I think so-and-so is driving down the road drunk. If police officers are out proactively catching impaired drivers, that's a really good thing for the police. I don't think we do it enough. So that is something. So I would say most of these, not all, but most, we are doing that, but I would like to see more. Most of these would come as a result of either collisions or somebody calling and saying, you know, my neighbor, I know he's been drinking all day and he just headed off towards wherever. And we're alerted to it in whatever fashion, and then we go and investigate it as we should. But over the years, as like I said, as our human resources are improving and expectations come about, and we're trying to change the way that we do certain things, in the future, this is something that I'm looking for. So every year, as long as I'm here, you're going to see road safety and impaired driving as a priority, because people dying as a result of an impaired driver, to me, it's unacceptable. So that is something that we're going to focus on, but most currently come from calls for service to the police, being collisions or otherwise.
Thanks. Any more for any more? Staff Sergeant, thank you very much for subjecting yourself to this annual presentation. Normally our presentations are limited to 10 minutes, but I think my colleagues understand the enormity of the task you have, and thank you very much for educating.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Although I lived in
Oh, I think you guys are taking it.
I live in Cornwallis Park. A couple of years ago, this woman came to me and said, you have to do something about the speed in Cornwallis Park along Highway 1. I said, great. I said, it's now 50. Do you want to go to 40? She said, no, you misunderstand me. I just paid a fine of $350 and I wanted to go to 80.
That's right. Thank you.
All right, next we have Chair of Police Advisory Board, Mr. Barry.
We just heard about the past, now we're going to hear about the future.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I am the chairperson of your Police Advisory Board, along with Paul Montgomery, who's the co-chair, who wasn't able to make it today, and with Councillor LeBlanc, Councillor Prout. So I'm going to go over briefly the priorities that the Police Advisory Board, in cooperation with the RCMP and community groups, decided should be the priorities for policing for the following year. And these are things they're going to focus on. It doesn't mean the only things they're going to focus on, but it's things that came about from information provided to the councillors on our board, from us attending attending neighborhood watch meetings, and looking at the trends the RCMP presented to us, and the whole process that goes on in the Police Advisory Board. And I have to say the Police Advisory Board is the heart of community-based policing in this country. And we're very fortunate to have this system here in Nova Scotia. Not every province has that, where politicians, volunteers from the community, and the police get together on a regular basis and hash out what needs to be done. So this came about from the RCMP opinions and information, the history of issues, citizens' needs from councillors, as I said, neighborhood watch groups. So we agreed on 4 priorities, and they're all interconnected. The first one is intelligence-led policing. which means gathering information from the public, from different sources to make policing more efficient. You can't always just fire more policemen in. You only have so many policemen in the whole country, in this province, and to make them more efficient is a good way to go. And that's one of the priorities that we put down. And I have to interject real quickly about how fantastic it was that this council put those radar signs in. I don't know if everybody, just listening to the comments, I don't know if you really understand how effective they are, or could be. They actually record the speed and time that people go through. The Police Advisory Board, together with the councilors, that's what we put into place, and you guys were great enough to fund for them. So the RCMP actually know, if they put the sign up for 2 weeks, they actually know when people go through, what time of day, and how fast they go. So now, instead of randomly go there and try to catch speeders, they can actually go there during the times when people are most often speeding. So you as a council and the RCMP are already doing that intelligent-led policing. So we're encouraging that for other factors in the future. Reduction of property crime. Theft prevention, education, working with the community, crime prevention, education, addressing prolific offenders. And I heard someone mention the court system. It's kind of a revolving door sometimes. Sometimes it takes 4 months for a final trial. So what the police are doing is they're making sure they keep eyes on those people that are prolific offenders. Road safety, impaired driving, that's self-explanatory. It's a great concern in every community. Police visibility and public engagement. More visibility in the community, more visibility in the schools with the seniors and the public. They're already doing that, but they're looking at doing it more. Staff Sergeant Maxwell didn't mention, but we still have Adam Burns doing things in the schools, but they've also moved towards each RCMP officer is given a school to kind of adopt. So if there's 10 schools, there's 10 RCMP officers, then each officer sort of, that's their school. So we have a doubling up. We not only have Adam Burns doing the things in the schools, but we also they have their own pet RCMP, or he has his own pet school, whatever way you look at it, but it's a more personal aspect. And of course the seniors and stuff, and the fundraising we do for food banks. So really the plans put forward are for the community and the police working together, which is the heart of community-based policing. And I thank the members of the police board that I work with, the Police Advisory Board, and I want to compliment Sergeant Maxwell, but he took off because he's a busy man. He's fantastic, and the other Corporal Hawks that comes there couldn't be better. We're really lucky and we're really happy. I hate to say this, I gotta say it though. They didn't bring somebody else from somewhere else in to be the staff sergeant. Not that he wouldn't be a good person, but it's so nice to have somebody that understands us and has worked with us, and I can't praise him any higher. I don't know if there's any questions you have in regards to this stuff, or it's kind of a briefing, but everybody, a good time to talk. Everyone wants to go to lunch, so. Any questions about the Police Advisory Board and anything else? No?
If I may.
Oh, sure.
If I may, just one thing that the advisory board's talking about is whole public education, which Staff Sergeant Maxwell talked about as well, about educating the community about when to call the police, what information to collect, when not to call the police, how to contact them, how to get involved, talking about neighborhood watches, maybe have some community meetings, and have the RCMP or even members of the council or the PAB attend along with the RCMP to lighten the load a little bit, to have community meetings in each of the districts in the future to talk about policing issues and how to get involved and how to keep an eye out for crime and things going on and how to report it and stuff. So, because people, as we talked about, are nervous, anxious about getting involved, not sure how to do it or who to call or when to call or whatever. So, one of the 4 strategies that the chairman talked about was more public education into the various communities throughout the next couple of years.
And members of the Police Advisory Board have gone to neighborhood watch programs. That's where we got some of our information about what's going on. So the Police Advisory Board is really doing the best we can to not only get what the RCMP are giving us, but also what the public wants. And then meeting with the RCMP and discussing it. And like I said, they've been fantastic. So.
I don't think we've done this in the past, have we? Have the chair of the Police Advisory Board.
First time. Thank you.
Hey, I'll come anytime you want me. I love talking. I'll keep you here all day if you want.
I think it's a good thing.
All right, thank you very much.
There is a vacancy on the board that's now advertised. If you know somebody in the community who wishes to be on the police advisory board, there is a vacancy for another position, so.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
In camera. Do I have a motion to go in camera, please,
Right
under
here.
section 22(2)E, contract negotiations? Councillor Gunn, Deborah, and Nadine, we need to talk to you after this is over, please. Councillor Gunn, seconded by somebody, Councillor
Sure.
Long. All in favor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Can you flip the signs on the doors, please?
Put the signs on the door.
Thank you, Doctor.
Close this meeting. Back.